Greetings Cybernauts, my name's Alison Branaghan and I'm the author of Making Sense of Business. I've been researching into entrepreneurship for 10 years and originally I trained as an artist, and I noticed there was a connection between creative people and entrepreneurship which I wanted to explore further. The original meaning of the word entrepreneur is from 1936, is from French slang, to put on entertainment, originally musical entertainment, and it's only really from the 1970s onwards that it's come to know the kind of risk-taking business person. And I think the word entrepreneur is very overused because there's a difference between an entrepreneur and a business person. A business person, yes, they do have to take a risk, but it's minimised because they are trying to supply a market demand, whereas an entrepreneur has an element of risk attached to what they're doing, i.e. it's an innovative product or a new idea which they have to actually create a market for, develop an audience for, and this is actually the hardest model of business to get off the ground. So I do believe today just to blanketly call anyone who's setting up a business an entrepreneur is not really engaging with the spirit of the word. I'm often asked, what's more important, a good product or being a good entrepreneur? And I'm thinking sometimes actually, though it may be more obvious to say, it's going to be an entrepreneur, I think actually a really good product, they often say a really good product will sell itself, but a really good product, will still be in demand, or some version of that product, after you kind of, died, for example. So big companies like, for example, Virgin and Dyson and Conran, if Terence Conran dies, and God bless him, which is an unfortunate eventuality, Conran will still carry on trading. I think the growth in entrepreneurship is mainly due down to a change in culture. I think there's a great deal of interest on television, for example, lots of business support organisations, both online and the growth of the enterprise agencies across the UK, plus support networks such as Business Link. Well, I hope my books kind of embrace the whole aspect, the whole spirit and culture of entrepreneurship, in the way that they're written. There are anecdotes, there are sort of apt quotations, the use of illustrations, creative diagrams, thinking exercises, which is more than most kind of business books cover, because there is a difference between business theory, for example, knowledge, and practical enterprise skills, and you need both. You might be very good at writing business plans, but if you don't have any charisma, or you're unable to kind of sell a product, then you won't get your business off the ground. In the last 10 years, I've interviewed entrepreneurs, and I've also had many people coming into my courses to give guest talks about how they set up their businesses. I think the key thing is that you have to build up trust. So for example, not having a silly email, for example. If you say you're going to ring someone on time, then you ring them, exactly at that time. If you go to a meeting, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you don't turn up at 3:05 or 3:10. You are there, 10 to 3. Because building up trust in small ways will mean that people will trust you more and more with further orders or bigger opportunities. If you wreck trust at the beginning by having some terrible web email and, you won't pick up the phone and ring people at a certain time, you're too nervous to speak, for example, and you just want to email people, then you're not going to go on. I'm often asked by people who are wanting to set up in business, what should they do? And all I can say, if I was setting up in business today, I would not try to do it in isolation. You do need people when you're setting up in business. It's impossible to do it on your own. So I would make more effort to seek advice, go to workshops. There are plenty of free workshops now available, in London and around the UK. So, that's the first thing I think you need to really grasp. So I run individual workshops on presentation skills, for example, and workshops and courses on business startup and entrepreneurship. And as part of the courses, there are individual workshops on things like money management, legal issues, how to negotiate, vision. So that there can be a kind of mix of different kinds of sort of skills, but also knowledge areas. If you'd like to come to one of my workshops, please feel free to contact me at alison@alisonbranaghan.com or visit my website, alisonbranaghan.com. If you'd like a copy of my book, Making Sense of Business, you can have a look at Amazon or Coogan Page or makingsenseofbusiness.com. My future books are already available pre-order on Amazon. Viewers may be interested that next year I've got a pocketbook coming out, and it's called The Pocketbook for Artists and Designers. This book is a little mini business book, and it's 100 questions about business that you'd like to possibly ask and have the answers to. And this will be out in 2011.